I want to talk about my Banana Pi Pro 5 terabyte CrashPlan server. Now I built it with the following parts from this wish list. I didn't make use of all of the items here as far as the Banana Pi Pro kit came. I also got this drive, I think, for $119. And I have this to power the SATA drive once I pull it out of the case, and I'll explain the details on that. So here's what my CrashPlan server looks like running right now. I can use this wireless. It's actually wired into my network, and I do suggest you use a Cat5 wire, Ethernet plugged in hardwired, because when you're going to be transferring a lot of data when you start your initial backup. So as I would say, is priming the backup. So those are the components. Here's what the CrashPlan desktop looks like. Now I'm VNC'd into the CrashPlan server. This is the CrashPlan app. And I'm sorry, let me pull up this terminal. So right now we can see the status of the CrashPlan server running. I am going to shut it down, and I'm going to shut down the CrashPlan server, and I'm going to show you how to put it all together. And once you download the image from my Google Drive site. Okay, folks, so with the hardware, the way I have it configured, what I've got going on is I'm using the case, I have the antenna, I do have it plugged into the Cat5 Ethernet. I'm not sure if I think it's the socket. Here's the power, reset, micro SD card goes right here. And usually, because it's recessed, I use another micro SD card to insert and eject. If you're not paying attention, you can insert it under the board, then you have to push it all the way under and shake it out. I've also shot it across the room, so if you put your finger partially over it, that'll save that problem and save you from doing a bug hunt. This is power for the Raspberry Pi. That's the micro B connector. And here's the SATA connecting, the data portion, connecting to the hard drive, the 5 terabyte hard drive. Here's power. The power comes from this adapter. Now, I'm not using the USB part. I'm just using the wall wart and power part. There is SATA power here, but it's for solid-state drives, or it's for 2.5-inch drives. Depending on your power draw, it'll work. It does not spin this 5 terabyte drive, so that's my configuration. Okay, so once you got it booted and running, what you're going to need to do is find out the IP address. Now, my router shows me the IP address. I know that it's 192.168.1.30. So all I have to do is SSH into it. The password is CrashPlan. The username is root. Now, if you change the username and password, run Bananian config, and it'll step you through. And when you hit the password portion, change it. So what we're going to do is we're going to start XFCE 4. And I should have done an ampersand after that. Okay, so I will have to do another SSH into it. And again, root in CrashPlan. And if I could type, let's see if I got that right. Okay, and then we're going to start X11 VNC, and I'll spawn that off. And let's see. Okay, we're running port 5900. And I'm going to drag it over so we can see. All right, so we're running CrashPlan, or we're running the desktop. I'm going to double click here. It takes a little bit of time to open. You can also run commands right here, and I'm going to run gparted. So gparted's coming up. Because I don't want to mess with any of my data, I unplugged my SATA drive and I plugged in a USB key, a 2 gig USB key. All right, you see we're starting version 4.52. And which reminds me of one thing. I want to show you that right now. I got to give credit to these two people. Basically, I followed all of the instructions up to line 29 here. So I don't know if it's Matthias Igley, and this person right here from mrglub.wordpress.com shows how to patch the UI. So right now you saw we're on 4.52. If it does change, you're going to have to replace this jar file. So the jar file is currently sitting in userlib, however you want to say, Java, and just copy it to the CrashPlan lib and replace that file. So that's what happens when the CrashPlan UI updates. All right, and going back to VNC. So right now, I'm just going to say open existing account, and you got to click sign in. Now you can do this by plugging an HDMI cable into your monitor and the Banana Pi and plugging a USB mouse and keyboard in, whether it's wireless or not. Okay, so that's going to take a moment to register. We have our drive set up. And okay, I saw the window come up, and I just want to show you the drive is media USB 0. So now what we're going to want to do is, here's the secret or the key that you share that you put on the client computer to do the backup. Okay, so we're going to destinations, friends, computers. Okay, this is what I was looking for. Right here from the UI, you can make the change of the destination for the backup from the default to media USB 0, and that'll mount it. And that makes your destination media USB. So now you can set the files there. Just one further thing. If you have a real hard drive connected, you're going to want to follow these instructions. You're going to run blkid. And so that gets you the UUID for the drives when you do that. And then you're going to want to modify your etc fstab file. And so these are the parameters they use. And I'll show you what I used. Okay, so because I'm booting off the micro SD and then using the hard drive, the 5 terabyte SATA hard drive, you need this parameter. So the parameter needs to be defaults, comma, underbar, netdev. And what netdev does is it delays the connection of it. So the first device it will see to boot off of, if you didn't do that, would be the external SATA drive that has nothing to boot off of. So that's the magic sauce that allows you to boot off the micro SD and just have data on the hard drive. And basically, that's the whole shooting match. Thank you very much for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, you can comment on the video, my blog, or Google+, and I'll include the links in the notes.